not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold. He that keepeth Israel shall not slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Shalom, Yasha Allah. Shalom, Akim wa Akwath. Giving all honor, glory, and praise to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and His Son, Yahweh Shai, as we gather for another Wednesday's Words of Wisdom, readings of the ancients, and writings from the inspired words of the prophets of old, which have been handed down to the children of Israel, today known as your so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans of Negroid Indian descent. We will be reading tonight from the book of the Apocrypha, out of the book of Ecclesiasticus, also called the book of Sirach. We'll be reading from chapters 45 through chapters 48. So if you'll get your apocryphas out, we shall begin. The book of Sirach, chapter 45. And he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh, even Moses, beloved of Yahweh and men, whose memorial is blessed. He made him like to the glorious saints and magnified him, so that his enemies stood in the fear of him. By his words he caused the wonders to cease, and he made him glorious in the sight of kings, and gave him commandment for his people. And showed him part of his glory. He sanctified him in his faithfulness and meekness, and chose him out of all men. He made him to hear his voice, and brought him into the dark cloud, and gave him commandments before his face, even the law of life and knowledge, that he might teach Jacob his covenants and Israel his judgments. He exalted Aaron, an holy man like unto him, even his brother of the tribe of Levi. An everlasting covenant he made with him and gave him the priesthood among the people. He beautified him with comely ornaments and clothed him with a robe of glory. He put upon him perfect glory and strengthened him with rich garments, with breeches, with a long robe and the ephod. And he compassed him with pomegranates and with many golden bells round about, that as he went there might be a sound and a noise made that might be heard in the temple, for a memorial to the children of his people. With an holy garment, with gold and blue silk and purple, the work of the embroiderer, with a breastplate of judgment, and with Urim and Thummim, with twisted scarlet, the work of the cunning workman, with precious stones graven like seals, and set in gold, the work of the jeweler, with a writing engraved for a memorial after the number of the tribes of Israel. He set a crown of gold upon the mitre, wherein was engraved holiness, an ornament of honor, a costly work, the desires of the eyes, goodly and beautiful. Before him there were none such, neither did ever any stranger put them on, but only his children and his children's children perpetually. Their sacrifices shall be wholly consumed every day, twice continually. Moses consecrated him and anointed him with holy oil. This was appointed unto him by an everlasting covenant and to his seed, so long as the heavens should remain, that they should minister unto him and execute the office of the priesthood and bless the people in his name. He chose him out of all men living to offer sacrifices to Yahweh, incense and a sweet savor, for a memorial, to make reconciliation for his people. He gave unto him his commandments and authority in the statutes of judgments, that he should teach Jacob the testimonies and inform Israel in his laws. Strangers conspired together against him and maligned him in the wilderness, even the men that were of Dathan's and Abiram's side, and the congregation of Korah, with fury and wrath. This the Lord saw, and it displeased him. And in his wrathful indignation were they consumed. He did wonders upon them to consume them with the fiery flame. But he made Aaron more honorable and gave him an heritage and divided unto him the firstfruits of the increase. Especially he prepared bread in abundance. For they eat of the sacrifices of Yahweh, which he gave unto him and his seed. Howbeit in the land of the people he had no inheritance, neither had he any portion among the people. For the Lord himself is his portion and inheritance. The third in the glory is Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, because he had zeal in the fear of Yahweh and stood up with good courage of heart when the people were turned back and made reconciliation for Israel. Therefore was there a covenant of peace made with him, that he should be the chief of the sanctuary and of his people, and that he and his posterity should have the dignity of the priesthood forever, according to the covenant made with David, son of Jesse, of the tribe of Judah, that the inheritance of the king should be to his posterity alone. So the inheritance of Aaron should also be unto his seed. Yahweh give you wisdom in your heart to judge his people in righteousness, that their good things be not abolished, and that their glory may endure forever. Book of Sirach, chapter 46. Jesus, Joshua, that is, the son of Nevi, was valiant in the wars and was the successor of Moses in prophecies, who according to his name was made great for the saving of the elect of Yahweh, and taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance. How great glory gat he, when he did lift up his hands and stretched out his sword against the cities, who before him so stood to it. For the Lord himself brought his enemies unto him. Did not the sun go back by his means? And was not one day as long as two? He called upon the Most High, Yahweh, when the enemies pressed upon him on every side, and the great Lord heard him. And with hailstones of mighty power, he made the battle to fall violently upon the nations. And in the descent of Beth Horon, he destroyed them that resisted, that the nations might know all their strength, because he fought in the sight of Yahweh, and he followed the mighty one. In the time of Moses, all he did a work of mercy, he and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, in that they withstood the congregation and withheld the people from sin and appeased the wicked murmuring. And of 600,000 people on foot, they too were preserved to bring them into the heritage, even into the land that floweth with milk and honey. The Lord gave strength also unto Caleb, which remained with him unto his old age, so that he entered upon the high places of the land, and his seed obtained it for an heritage, that all the children of Israel might see that it is good to follow Yahweh. And concerning the judges, every one by name, whose heart went not a whoring, nor departed from the Lord, let their memory be blessed. Let their bones flourish out of their place, and let the name of them that were honored be continued upon their children. Samuel, the prophet of the Lord, beloved of his Lord, established a kingdom and anointed princes over his people. By the law of the Lord, he judged the congregation. And the Lord had respect unto Jacob. By his faithfulness, he was found a true prophet, and by his word, he was known to be faithful in vision. He called upon the mighty Lord when his enemies pressed upon him on every side, when he offered the sucking lamb. And the Lord thundered from heaven, and with a great noise made his voice to be heard. And he destroyed the rulers of the Tyrians and all the princes of the Philistines. And before his long sleep, he made protestations in the sight of Yahweh and his anointed. I have not taken any man's goods, so much as a shoe, and no man did accuse him. And after this death, he prophesied and showed the king his end, and lifted up his voice from the earth in prophecy to blot out the wickedness of the people. Book of Sirach, chapter 47. And after him rose up Nathan to prophesy in the time of David, as is the fat taken away from the peace offering, so was David chosen out of the children of Israel. He played with lions as with kids, and with bears as with lambs. Slew he not a giant when he was yet but young? And did he not take away reproach from the people, when he lifted up his hand with the stone in the sling, and beat down the boasting of Goliath? For he called upon the Most High Lord, and he gave him strength in his right hand to slay that mighty warrior, and set up the horn of his people. So the people honored him with 10,000s and praised him in the blessings of Yahweh, in that he gave him a crown of glory. For he destroyed the enemies on every side and brought to naught the Philistines, his adversaries, and brake their horn in sunder unto this day. In all his works he praised the Holy One, Most High, with words of glory. With his whole heart he sung songs, and loved him that made him. He set strangers also before the altar. He set singers also before the altar, that by their voices they might make sweet melody, and daily sing praises in their songs. He beautified their feast, and set in order the solemn times until the end, that they might praise his holy name, and that the temple might sound from morning. The Lord took away his sins and exalted his horn forever. He gave him a covenant of kings and a throne of glory in Israel. After him rose up a wise son, and for his sake he dwelt at large. Solomon reigned in a peaceful time and was honored, for Yahweh made all quiet around about him, that he might build a house in his name and prepare his sanctuary forever. How wise wast thou in thy youth, and as a flood filled with understanding. Thy soul covered the whole earth, and thou fillest it with dark parables. Thy name went far unto the islands, and for thy peace thou wast beloved. The countries marveled at thee for thy songs, and proverbs, and parables, and interpretations. By the name of the Lord Yahweh, which is called the Lord of Israel, thou didst gather gold as tin, and didst multiply silver as lead. Thou didst bow thy loins unto women, and by thy body thou wast brought into subjection. Thou didst strain thy honor and pollute thy seed, so that thou broughtest wrath upon thy children, and wast grieved for thy folly. So the kingdom was divided, and out of Ephraim ruled a rebellious kingdom. But the Lord will never leave off his mercy, neither shall any of his works perish, neither will he abolish the posterity of his elect. And the seed of him that loveth him he will not take away. Wherefore he gave a remnant unto Jacob, and out of him a root unto David. Thus rested Solomon with his fathers, And of his seed he left behind him Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding, who turned away the people through his counsel. There was also Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin and showed Ephraim the way of sin. And their sins were multiplied exceedingly, that they were driven out of the land. For they sought out all wickedness, till the vengeance came upon them. Book of Sirach, chapter 48. Then stood up Elias, prophet as fire, and his word burned like a lamp. He brought a sore famine upon them, and by his zeal he diminished their number. By the word of Yahweh he shut up the heaven, and also 3 times brought down fire. O Elias, how wast thou honored in thy wondrous deeds? And who may glory like unto thee, who didst raise up a dead man from the death, and his soul from the place of the dead, by the word of the Most High, who brought his kings to destruction, and honorable men from their bed, who heardest the rebuke of the Lord in Sinai, and in Horeb the judgment of vengeance, who anointest kings to take revenge and prophets to succeed after him, who was taken up in a whirlwind of fire and in a chariot of fiery horses, who was ordained for reproofs in their times, to pacify the wrath of the Lord's judgment before it break forth into fury, and to turn the heart of the Father unto the Son, and to restore the tribes of Jacob. Blessed are they that saw thee and slept in love, for we shall surely live. Elias it was who was covered with a whirlwind, and Eliasus was filled with his spirit whilst he lived. He was not moved with the presence of any prince, neither could any bring him into subjection. No word could overcome him, and after his death, his body prophesied. He did wonders in his life, and at his death were his works marvelous. For all this the people repented not, neither departed they from their sins, till they were spoiled and carried out of their land, and were scattered through all the earth. Yet there remained a small people, and a ruler in the house of David, of whom some did that which was pleasing to Yahweh, and some multiplied sins. Ezekias fortified his city, and brought in water into the midst thereof. He did hard rock with iron, and made wells for waters. In his time, Sennacherib came up and sent Rapsaces and lifted up his hand against Zion and boasted proudly. Then trembled their hearts and hands, and they were in pain as woman in travail. But they called upon Yahweh, which is merciful, and stretched out their hands toward him. And immediately the Holy One heard them out of heaven and delivered them by the ministry of his say. He smote the host of the Assyrians, and his angel destroyed them. For Ezekiah had done the thing that pleased Yahweh, and was strong in the ways of David his father. And Esai, the prophet, who was great and faithful in his vision, had commanded him. In his time, the sun went backward, and he lengthened the king's life. He saw by an excellent spirit, what should come to pass at the last, and he comforted them that mourn in Sion. He showed what should come to pass forever, and secret things or ever they came. And that, Yasha Allah, shall conclude this Wednesday's Words of Wisdom. I pray all was edifying, uplifting, and exhortation. I pray all have a blessed week. Shalom to the remnant. Shalom to the hopeful elect.
I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall not slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen. Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashamar, Amalanya, Wa'aya, Wa'aitha, Wa'ai, Hawalam, Aman. Anisha, Ayanyamya, Al, Paharyam, Maaya, Yabawa'a, Izaria, Yabawa'a, Mayahawa, Sha'aisha, Shemaya, Warataza, La'a, Yenathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Nawam, Shashamoria, Ana, Yala'a, Nawam, Wala'a, Yashan, Shashamamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shemaria, Yahweh, Tazalia, Al, Yum, Ya, Hashemash, Yala'a, Hakaya, Ayawa, Alabana, Alayala, Yahweh, Yashamarya, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Nepasha, Yahweh, Yashamar, Habalakya, Wabapa'aya, Ma'aitha, Wa'ai, Alabam, Aman.